Cross-examination.
Thank you. In addition to let me strike that. I'll say it a different way. You spoke about the jury can be viewed in that camera angle, and we can see the juror seats there. You heard the testimony, Mr. Sanchez, indicating that the video, security video is maintained and that it's overwritten as the system gets full, but that is not broadcast on the internet. You recall that correctly?
So what's your question?
You recall that, correct? That he said that it was not broadcast on the internet.
I recall that someone said that.
Okay. So you're aware, are you not, that even though the jury can be seen, the whole courtroom can be seen, that's really a security camera for security purposes, and that the county's not broadcasting jurors' photographs live on the internet. Is that correct?
It's a security camera available for public record.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're aware that the county does not broadcast live streaming of the security video onto the internet. Is that correct?
I don't assume that they do.
Okay, good assumption. Do you recall telling the judge, or excuse me, let me go back to the video that we just watched. And there's a part at about 8 minutes and 50 seconds where it looks like you've turned and now it appears that you were talking to the audience. Remember talking to the audience during this exchange?
Generally, when I talk during an exchange, I'm talking to whoever's around me, just like I'm doing right now.
But you were talking to the judge, and then you were talking to the audience as well, correct?
Yes, I was talking to everyone.
Sure.
Yeah.
And do you recall saying the words, folks, we got to take back our court. Who will rise and stand in defiance of the lawlessness? Remember saying that?
Sounds familiar.
Do you remember saying that twice? Who will stand in defiance of this lawless court?
I would have to review the video to see how many times I said it, but that's reasonable that could be in there.
Okay, yeah. Do you recall telling the judge, I'm telling you, you are in contempt of this court. Do we need to arrest you?
Absolutely.
So you were planning on arresting the judge?
No, I was asking her a question. It was an oral argument.
I see. Under what circumstance would you have arrested the judge?
It wouldn't be me in this situation that was capable of arresting the judge, and I had no intention of personally arresting her.
So when you say do we, so you're not including yourself in the we?
We would be we the people, as in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence.
So you weren't referring to the crowd and yourself that were gathered here, that they were going to arrest the judge?
No.
Okay. How would you go about arresting the judge?
How would you go about it? I'm not allowed to ask you questions.
How would you go about arresting the judge? For contempt of court.
The way I wouldn't arrest a judge for contempt of court.
I'm telling you, you are in contempt of this court. Do we need to arrest you? So how would that
It's a question. It was a question to the judge.
Okay, my question to you is how would that arrest go about?
Since there was no plan for me to arrest anyone, I'm not sure how I can tell you how I would have done it.
Do you recall stating again, who will stand in defiance, block the door?
Okay.
You remember saying that?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, you were asking people, directing people to block the door?
It was up to them. I was being removed from the courtroom.
So you felt it was in your purview of authority to request the crowd to block your removal from the courtroom?
It's not a question of any special authority. Anybody has an obligation to uphold the law as a citizen.
Right. My question, I didn't say special authority, but you believe it was in your purview of authority to request people to block the door?
I wasn't exercising any authority. I was simply making the statement that people could block the door as there was a crime in progress.
Judge,
Sir,
we notified you, ma'am, that we will be recording in this courtroom.
Sir, I'll make a decision on it pretty soon. Go sit down.
You just took the advisors out.
You will sit down or
Will you
leave.
return my brother to the courtroom?
You will sit down or leave.
If I sit down, will you address that, please?
It's a,
Will you address that if I sit down?
I told you I will run the court. You will sit down
This is
or
the
leave.
people's court, ma'am.
I'm aware of that. You will sit down or leave, sir.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the slow motion aspect of this testimony. I believe it really needs to run at real speed.
Shut it down. State your objection again.
I'm objecting to the slow motion aspect of this testimony. I believe it needs to run at real speed.
Your Honor, I'm playing at slow speed at this particular junction so that we can clearly hear Mr. Seim articulate what he says, and then I'll play it at regular speed, and so that we can hear the tone and demeanor of his statements.
I believe that under ER 703, it's prejudicial and that it does not accurately reflect best evidence. He said what he said. We've got a great recording of it. Let's hear it.
Right. You're trying to distinguish so that they can hear by slowing the recording down and then comparing it at regular speed.
Yes, sir.
How much more have you got to go that's already been
About 10 or 20 seconds of this particular issue.
with the instruction that the jury understands that it's being slowed down so that the words can be heard and that it will be played, the same will be played at regular speed so that, just for comparing and contrasting, members of the jury, there's not to be any weight placed on the change in the diction or how the voice comes across, just so that you can hear what the words are said in a more efficient manner. Proceed.
Honor leave. This is my courtroom.
No, this is our courtroom. How dare you say that this is your courtroom? This is the people's courtroom.
The people I've been one.
In the boundaries of the Constitution. Who will stand in defiance? Lock the door.
You hear that? Who will stand in defiance and block the door?
Mm-hmm.
We'll play that at regular speed.
Down or leave. This is my courtroom.
No, this is our courtroom. How dare you say that this is your courtroom? This is the people's courtroom.
The people I've been the one that controls the courtroom. Officer, this gentleman
In the boundaries of the Constitution.
This gentleman will either leave or sit down and be quiet.
Who will stand in defiance? Lock the door. Throw me your thumb. Here.
Get the phone. No, that's excessive. Oh, this.
So that was you stating block the door, correct?
Yes, in the context of the fact that my brother had just been assaulted and removed from the courtroom.
And that was your camera that was doing the recording from this council table?
Yes.
And it was actually you who picked up the camera at one point and turned it around and pointed it towards the jury panel that was being seated, isn't that correct?
The jury panel that was on this video camera up here?
The jury panel that was on the Ustream video.
The same jury panel that's shown on this camera,
Can you
right?
answer my question? Let's go to that video.
When those 6 people were access to the phone, so they all picked their phone, his birthday, and it was I texted you after that. So you can either see so
Very direct. How
I'm using the chair.
it's just important that after your numbers, you take a break and come back and sit.
So that's actually you that's holding the camera, pointing it at the jury in this photo, in this.
I can't identify myself in the video, but it seems likely since it's my camera there.
Sure. And you were recording this because you wanted to rebroadcast this on I don't know, Facebook or other sites?
I was recording this to prevent an overreach of the courts and make sure there was credible evidence in case something happened, which it turns out it did, and you're using that evidence right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you use this video on your Facebook post actually to generate revenue, is that correct?
There's no revenue generated from Facebook.
Do you not in your Facebook postings ask people to send money to your cause?
Oh yes, sometimes I will ask for money and they can donate on my website. Sure. It's the same, yeah.
And this video, this episode I should say, plays predominantly in your Facebook postings of the last few months, is that correct?
It's one of my lesser viewed ones, I guess, yes, but it's certainly in there.
And you just actually posted a YouTube video here in the last couple of days talking about your upcoming trial and asking people to donate for your trial, is that correct?
Objection, Your Honor. This is way beyond the scope of direct. My direct questioning had to do with what happened when he was arrested. I don't know how we got to Facebook.
Your Honor, I don't believe it's beyond direct in that. Well, I'll say it a different way. One of the defenses, which was stated to the jury, was a defense of his property interest. And I don't know how I can examine his property interest in filming this trial if I'm shut down from asking any questions on something that was stated by counsel to the jury.
Your Honor, the property interest we were discussing was the property interest in constitutional rights, which is what is in our legal memorandum for the court.
What I'm going to do is something that's going to be a little bit protracted. Ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. I'm going to ask you to, we're going to take a short recess so I can let counsel argue this a little further. So, if you would ask the jurors to go into the other room, please.
Should I? All right. Sure.
Members of the jury, again, welcome back. Thank you for your patience. Mr. Baker, you may proceed with your cross-examination.
Thank you. So, Mr. Seim, getting to the issue of being removed from the courtroom and your indignation at what was going on, you had actually, prior to the trial, invited people to attend the trial so that we, the people, will stand in defiance of lawlessness and take back the court if necessary. Is that correct?
I've learned that inviting people is the best way to ensure peace. The more people you have that are willing to stand for something, the less the chance that people have to be aggressive or violent.
Sure.
And in the action of standing up and saying what I did, the things that you brought up in defense of property, because as John Locke, one of the forefathers of the United States Constitution, asserted, the most fundamental property is ourselves, it's our families, it's our neighbors. And the ability to gather and stand against anything that would come against that property, because as John Locke also asserted, any judge or magistrate that steps outside the boundaries of the right to life, liberty, and property at that point ceases to be a judge or magistrate. And so I think everybody in this room was really just operating peacefully, which is what I encourage them to do, what I always encourage them to do, because the last thing I want is a fist fight or a gunfight. And having people in the room that were willing to, yes, stand in defiance if need be, honestly, that it wasn't expected that we would need to, because we had people there. And
so possibly to block the door, correct?
To block the door in defense of property?
Sure, block the door.
Okay.
Correct. Or arrest the judge, correct?
Nobody arrested the judge.
Well, one of the options of this peaceful crowd who stands in defiance is to arrest this judge who ceases to operate as a magistrate, isn't that correct?
You're monologuing to take it out of context.
I was just responding to your monologue, sir.
Okay.
So your assertion is that as soon as the judge does something you don't think is fair, then you have the ability to raise your voice, threaten the judge with arrest, hold her in contempt, and order people to block the door, as opposed to sitting down, listening to the judge, having peaceful discussion, and appealing the decision to a higher court if you don't like what's being said.
No, that's not my assertion at all. My oral argument with the judge was very peaceful, and it was the court that initiated the aggressive stance, and that had precipitated the aggressive stance by the removal of my brother from the courtroom. So I simply stood up and addressed the issue as peacefully as possible, and yes, I got passionate, and I can do that. And I was certainly not intending any violence, nor was any incited, nor did any occur.
That they will be recording, and that you.
So your testimony is that the judge started this.
Did I say that? I don't believe I said that.
That the judge is the one who...
Actually, the judge wasn't in the room at the time this started. It seems that someone removed my brother Nathan on their own accord.
And so before the judge gets in there, this is what you're saying.
For the Sixth Amendment, for the Constitution, or for the law. These people swore an oath. We notified this court that there would be filming.
So the judge isn't in there yet. You're having a discussion with the audience.
I'm having a discussion with whoever's listening.
In this courtroom.
I'm explaining.
They are required by law. This judge.
All right. The judge is walking in and you're saying, in a loud voice, this judge.
Okay.
Normally when a judge enters, it's all rise and we all rise. But your response is, when she walks in,
these people swore an oath. We notified this court that there would be filming in this courtroom. They are required by law. This judge is required by law.
Is there a question?
Yeah, there is a question. You started yelling about this judge as she was walking through the door before she said a word.
According to the people in the courtroom, the judge had ordered my brother removed.
You didn't know that.
Yes, they said it right over here in the video. We just listened to it.
Did you talk to the judge about that?
The judge had just entered the room.
Exactly. You didn't give the judge an opportunity to say word one.
That's not true. The judge and I had an oral argument. She declined to discuss the situation.
Before you started yelling to the crowd, this judge.
There would be filming in this courtroom. They are required by law. This judge is required by law.
So, before even asking the judge a simple question, before allowing the judge to even take her seat, before allowing the bailiff to finish saying, all rise, you are already in her face.
No, I wasn't in her face.
You don't consider that in her face?
Absolutely not. I was right back there at the table. I couldn't have been in her face. I raised my voice because I didn't know what was happening to my brother outside the building. He had just been forcibly ejected from the building, violently so. And presumably, according to the court officials, at the order of the judge.
But you didn't give the judge an opportunity to talk.
Yes, I did. The judge had every opportunity to talk when we were here having oral arguments.
Thank you, Mr. Seim. That's all, Your Honor. No further questions.
Any redirect?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Seim, thank you. You're excused.